G'day fellas and welcome to a civilization overview for the Jin Dynasty. Today's video, we look at the new landmarks, the new units, and of course the new technology in this brand new tech tree. Well, we'll be diving into a game as well. Now this civilization is brand new, hot off the press. It is a Chinese variant, that's what they've gone with, even though it's incredibly unique, very hard to recognize as a Chinese civilization. And of course, we've got this beautiful UI to scroll through today. But look, before we get into it, let me tell you a little bit about the expansion, just so you're up to date. First and foremost, it's coming in on the 7th of May. Excuse my Australian time zone here. Don't be fooled. It's not the 8th of May, it's the 7th. When it comes to money, $20 Australian, so probably like $13 American, I guess, probably closer to like 10 USD, which is not too bad considering they've got an entire campaign. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's take a look at this brand new civilization because I'll be real with you. I've been waiting so long for an economic focused civilization and this is it. So this video is going to be a little bit different from our standard Civ overview videos, and the reason why is because we're going to go through it from the perspective of you going through a game and the decisions that you're going to be making. Of course, we're going to be talking about the landmarks, the technologies, and the units, but I want to look at it from the beginning of the game. What does your game look like? Because as you'll see, there's already some key differences here. Most notably is sheep. You should almost always have safe sheep now on Dry Arabia. This is something that they're trialing, and I'll be honest with you, it is absolutely amazing. I hope they bring it to all maps. Anyway, let's get into it. Now, before we talk about landmarks, which is, for me, probably the most important part, we need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Well, maybe not the elephant, maybe the reindeer in the room, maybe the villager sitting on a horse in the room. This villager is absolutely bonkers. Can we just quickly talk about this villager? Look, I'm going to get in and out real quick about it. This villager gathers at 2.2x the gather rate of a villager. Not 2x, 2.2x. That means if you're gathering up, it's a lot, okay? It's a lot. It's faster than a villager, which means that if you try and get raid, or if someone raids you, you can run away faster. So here we've got a base movement speed of 1.42. Here it's 1.12. On top of that, when it comes to something like textiles, it's got more health. So it means that it's going to survive more attacks. And then on top of that, textiles is going to give it more health. It's also got some unique upgrades, which we'll talk about more as we get into it. But this villager is just incredible. I haven't mentioned the most important thing. While its cost is higher than a normal villager, 65 food and 50 gold, compared to just your 50 food, its time to train is actually shorter if we were to think about it, right? 35 seconds, but you're getting 2.2 villagers worth of villager. So it scales very quickly. Now, it's got a maximum of 20 villagers. That's all you can build. So my suspicion, at least initially, is that everyone is just going to be maxing out their mounted villagers as fast and as hard as they can. And then from there, making other villagers. Or maybe not making them when they don't have the gold to make them. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about the landmark options that you've got. We'll start off with the easy one. The easy one's the economic-focused landmark. That means that we don't have to talk too much about the complexities that come in with the military one, but we'll get there, don't worry. So the eco landmark is really, really cool. What's it called? Well, it's called Flower Pagoda. It grants you the ability to plant a flower garden, which improves the gather rate of villagers and the attack speed of non-siege military units as long as they're in the flower garden. So what is the flower garden exactly? Well, let's take a look. So we'll drop down our landmark. Now, one thing to note is that on the bottom of both of these descriptions, you'll see that it spawns 3 grassland posts. And this is quite important, but we will get to this once we start talking about the Great Pasture, because this landmark actually acts as a grassland as well. So we can get into it a little bit more over there. So when it comes to this landmark, we'll go ahead, we'll do a little bit of speed right here. We've got our grassland posts. We're not going to talk about it right now. We'll just get them out of the way so you don't have to worry about looking at them. So let's take a look. It's a 25% gather rate increase. That's correct. So all those mounted villagers that you've been building, all those mounted villagers, I don't know what they're doing. They're probably gathering gold for your fast castle or something like that. Now all of a sudden, you can go ahead and boost them up by 25%. Oh, we've still got Inner Jiffy on. Excuse me. We want to make sure that we turn that off. So now all of a sudden, you've got a significantly faster gather rate. Now, one thing to note, when you put this down, it's just absolutely beautiful. Let's just start with that. The animation that's there, the nice little garden that you've got, good little indication, goes onto a 60-second cooldown, so not too bad. Now, the other thing to note is that it's got the 25% military attack speed. Now, that's for non-siege units, quite important. So typically, this is going to be used on the aggressive or when you're defending. This civilization is typically a defender's dream civilization. It's like the ultimate combination of defense. It's kind of like English, to be honest, defense and eco-focus. So as you can see, we've now got these nice little buffs that are showing up here. 25% faster gather rate on all resources. So now it essentially becomes about finding where can I put down a flower pagoda that's going to get a really nice combo. So over here might be a decent combo where you can hit the berries, you can hit the woodlines. But of course, it's also about making sure that you've got it in the bag just in case the enemy attacks you, or just in case you want to go and attack the enemy, and then you can throw down that extra 25% attack speed as well. So it's quite a flexible landmark in that regard. Now, of course, when we do eventually use Flower Garden, keep in mind we can't actually use it in the middle of the town center, so you can't get 100% coverage, but towards the edges, you can. But, of course, once we use it, the old one is going to disappear. And that means that we're no longer going to be getting that buff. Keep in mind the buff does not linger either, so you can't get any cheeky little tricks like that in. But that's essentially it, Flower Pagoda. I think this landmark is going to be a great landmark, but I'll be real with you. Both of the landmarks for this civilization coming into the feudal age are incredible. They're both, in my mind, amazing. Let's take a look at the second one. Okay, so we're back in a fresh game, and this time we're going to be going with the Great Pasture. So this acts as a war stable and a grassland. Now, it also spawns 3 grassland posts. Only 1 grassland may be constructed on these grassland posts. You would have seen those in the previous part that we were doing with the Flower Pagoda. Let's talk about that. So first and foremost, they don't have stables. They've got war stables, which are a little bit different because they can utilize grasslands. So a grassland costs 100 wood. That's it out of the gate. And as you can see, we can't actually build it now. It only unlocks in the feudal age. Now, when it comes to the grassland, how does it work? Well, let's take a look and see. So you can treat this as a grassland. It is a grassland / stable combination. So this is a great landmark if you're looking to open up with some aggression, because out of the gate, you're going to have access to essentially a stable. And it's not just your ordinary stable. That's why it's so special. So let's go ahead and let's put down some of our grasslands. Now, you'll get 3 options for putting down these grasslands. And as a guy with OCD as well as autism and a whole bunch of other stuff that I probably need to go and get diagnosed, this pains me greatly. I hate not having the ability to control where these grasslands go, but it is what it is, and that's how it works. So we want to make sure that this grassland is in the influence of this building. That's really important. You see how this isn't? That would be problematic. And the reason why is because each one of these grasslands has a ticket, and that ticket can be used by a war stable. So in this situation, we've got the Great Pasture, which is acting as our war stable. If we were to take this one out here, we'd actually have to go and build a war stable out there. Now, keep in mind, this one also is acting as the Great Pasture, so it's building tickets over time. Let's take a look and see what those tickets actually give you. So, the grassland must be constructed on the grassland post, as we saw. It spawns a horse up to a maximum of 5 every 90, 60, or 45 seconds, depending on feudal, castle, or imperial age. And each horse grants a maximum of 2 health to all cavalry, and +1 to all ranged cavalry. Oh, excuse me, that's +2 to all melee cavalry. Horses can be used by war stables in influence to instantly train cavalry at a 25 resource discount. So let's try and break that down. So there's a couple of things going on here, and I think this is where the complexity really comes from, because you immediately have a decision. Am I going to try and save these bad boys up, or am I actually going to use them? Now, why might you want to use them? Well, as we saw right there, you get a 25 resource discount. Now, that's not the reason why it's good. Let's go ahead and turn off in a jiffy here, which is going to make it so that we actually train things at the right speed. So this is 40 seconds for an Iron Pagoda. That's a pretty long time. I would much prefer to just click a button and get one instantly. And that's exactly what this allows you to do. It is instant production. Instantly, you're able to react. The moment an enemy comes in and raids you and you go, oh gosh, I didn't scout that, we have a problem, immediately you can respond. And at the same time, you can use this to pressure the enemy. You can, essentially, the same way that the French can have faster cavalry that trains earlier because of their school of cavalry, here we've got the Great Pasture, which just quite literally will just outnumber people. That's essentially the difference here. Now, of course, you still need to pay almost full price for these units. So here we've got 115, 125 versus 140, 125. So the real attraction isn't the fact that things are cheaper. It's the fact that they train instantly. And it means that if you're comparing, say, a horseman at 23 seconds versus an Iron Pagoda at 40 seconds, it almost always makes more sense to train the Iron Pagoda, just simply because it takes so much longer to train it, and therefore you're getting more value. So that's essentially it. Now, keep in mind, both of these are providing those horses. At the moment, it's only 90 seconds, once every 90 seconds, but we've got 2 of them now. And of course, when we look to go up into the next age, we'll of course have that same little thing that's said down the bottom. So let's talk about the next stage. We've talked about these, these landmarks. Let's focus on the next landmarks. Now, a good landmark that you might want to pair with the Great Pasture could be something like the Mountain Hall. The Mountain Hall is one of those classic monastery landmarks, the ones that, you know, most civilizations get access to. But this one works a little bit differently. Once again, it's a focus on economy here, even though it says religious landmark. So it generates karma by gathering resources near monasteries. Now, keep in mind, this acts as a monastery. Losing units decreases karma, and at maximum karma, you receive the blessing of the 4 heavenly kings for 60 seconds. Can I just say, I'm just thinking of that Reddit meme, the Bingus points. If you know, you know. Buildings regenerate 50 health per second. Okay, not that good. Villagers gather from farms 75% faster. Okay, kind of cool. Relics generate 300% more gold. Okay. And defenses attack 50% faster. So you can see it's really, like, there's a lot of this that's focused around defense, focused around economy as well. But the key here, I think, is the fact that relics generate 300% more gold. So the way that this works is when you put it down, it's got this influence area around it. I'm sure you would have seen it, but just to make sure that you see it again, extending out towards the berries at the top of the screen. So when we put this down, every villager that's within this influence is slowly going to be adding more and more, excuse me, let me grab some villagers out here. We actually need to put some houses down. It's going to be adding more and more towards your karma. So we'll just get a couple of villagers here. I don't actually know whether or not we don't want Inner Jiffy turned on, but it might take a little bit of time for us to gather this up. And essentially what's going to happen is eventually we are going to reach 1,000 points. And when that happens, we're going to get the karma bonuses. It's going to last for 60 seconds. When you're experiencing the karma bonus, you will not be able to gather more karma. So essentially, it's like once you hit the karma bonus, at that point, then you can attack. I think is probably the right play, because you will lose karma if you lose units, or rather your karma will be decreased if you lose units. So it's very much on keeping things alive, making sure if you do lose units that they're the bigger units rather than the smaller ones, and just trying to avoid losing them at all costs. So we'll wait for that to slowly work itself out, maybe add in a couple farms around here as well, just so that we can have people gathering up, and then we can play the nice little sound. But that's the Mountain Hall. So I think if you're going for a strategy like this, you're definitely looking to take advantage of the fact that you've got your monks out early. You're looking to try and gain control with the Great Pasture in the same way that the French would. But I think the conversion that you're looking for here is to try and keep people in their base, try and keep them under control, maybe potentially using the Mohi tribesmen, which we'll be talking about soon, which is an archer that comes out of the Great Pasture. Oh my god, where do we even start with this? Well, I'm just going to make a whole bunch of iron pagodas, and then I'm just going to queue up Mohi tribesmen. And oh my god, look how many there are already. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's essentially it for the Mountain Hall. It makes a very cool sound. Give me a second. I'm just going to fast forward with a little bit of magic right here. All right, now we're cooking with gas. As you can see, we're starting to go up quite quickly here. Now, we don't actually have a lot of villagers. In fact, a whole bunch of them are idle, so let's get them over there actually working. We put down a second monastery here, so it means we've got a little bit more coverage, despite all of the idols, excuse me. And as long as they're gathering, that's going to be giving you that karma. So as long as you're generating resources. So you can see it actually goes up pretty damn quickly, which really makes you start to think, hold on a minute, like this could actually be a contender to something like Regnitz. But anyway, we're sitting at 850 right now, about to cross over to 900. You can see we've got plenty of villagers here. How many are we sitting on? We're sitting on 78 at the moment, but yeah, it's about 78. So I think like once you get to decent mid-game, anyway, here comes the sound. Listen out for the sound. Here we go. Here we go. Get ready. This is it. Oh yeah, there it is. And then so it stays active for 60 seconds. And then after that, that's it. So your buildings regenerate a whole bunch of health. They shoot a lot faster, so you're able to survive a lot more. And of course, your farmers gather faster. Your relics generate more gold. It is just, it's some nice bonuses. Anyway, let's talk about the other Castle Age landmark now. All right, so let's pretend that you're having a nice little game. You got your second TC down, you put it down on the gold. You may have found some deer as well. We'll talk more about these lovely little deer later. And maybe you've got a flower garden or two just hanging out and buffing up everybody, giving you that nice extra 25% gather rate. Well, you know what you're probably going to need? You're probably going to need a little bit of defense. And boy, oh boy, have I got the landmark for you. The Dragon Pavilion. It grants a free Megan Mook emplacement to all town centers and comes with a Megan Mook emplacement. What the hell is a Megan Mook? We'll talk about it, I know. It also lets you train emissaries at a 33% discount, and it spawns one for free upon completion. And of course, it spawns 3 grassland posts. Now, what's important to note is that with the Dragon Pavilion, it actually gives the Dragon Pavilion a Megan Mook. Let's take a look and see where would be a good spot to put it down. I think we probably want to look somewhere in this region right here where we could kind of defend the main or the secondary TC and also the main, kind of like we would the White Tower. So let's go ahead. We'll throw that down. We'll pop in a jiffy so you can see it used. Now, initially there's not going to be much action that happens with this landmark, at least in our current game. And that's because no one's attacking us. You see, this landmark is really about making sure that if anyone does attack you, they're going to have a hard time. So what is the Megan Mook emplacement? How does it work? So these town centers now have Megan Mook emplacements. So we can see that right here. They've got defender production. So they are producing every 2 minutes a defender. Both TCs are doing it, as well as the Dragon Pavilion. Now the Dragon Pavilion here, you'll see it's just the landmark, doesn't have anything else in it. It also has the ability to call the Megan Mook. So what are the Megan Mook? The Megan Mook are these guys right here, defenders. It is a bank of defenders that you can call anywhere on the map at any point in time, but you've got no control over when you call them. It's only when your opponent attacks you. So there's a little radius. You can see it around the TC here. I don't actually know if that's the Megan Mook radius. You can see it around each of these. And what will happen is you will deploy these units automatically. You can't control them. They are completely controlled by the AI, by the system. And that's what makes them very special, because it means that you don't have to watch your screen to win. Now, the other interesting thing to note is that the Megan Mook emplacement doesn't just exist within TCs, it doesn't just exist within the Dragon Pavilion, it exists within a whole bunch of other buildings. So let's take a look and see. So here we've got an outpost, this has got a Megan Mook emplacement, so as soon as we do that, what's now going to happen is that's going to start giving us a little bit of extra trickle every 2 minutes. You can see right here. So what's going to happen at the end? Whoop, we found the enemy TC. So what's going to happen here? Oh, are we going to deploy? Get ready, the scout's coming in. We might deploy. So what's going to happen is each time you deploy, if the unit dies, you will lose the... Oh, there they go. Look how quick they are as well. 2.2. Decent stats on these bad boys. They're going to come out. They're going to look to hit the charge. Now, we can't control them if we try and right-click, but they've made a connection. Look how far away they are right here. They've killed the unit. We lost those tickets. So all of these have gone over. So now we've gone down to 10 tickets, but have a look what happens. As long as they survive, as long as they make it back, we get those tickets refunded. And those same Megan Mook Raiders that you just saw could potentially come out, well, anywhere. Now, I don't know whether or not they've still got this in. So we could potentially do this. We may potentially not be able to do this. Let's have a look and see. Oh, no, we can still do it. Lovely. So now we can call Megan Mook underneath the enemy. And so what we can do with this, I mean, the reason I'm showing you this is just because I want to show you how the units work. This is a bit rude. You can drop a keep down in the enemy's face, and of course you can also call out Megan Mook here, and it's based on the units. So here we've still got 11 Megan Mook defenders. So we will only call out a specific amount of those defenders. The interesting thing is, if you've got a whole bunch of buildings that have got emplacements, then it means they all get called out at the same time, depending on the units. I'm sure you... I can picture your face right now. I know. Look, I'm warning you right now. Do not use Megan Mook defenders for offense. You will be charged. You will be held criminally responsible if you do it. That's my warning. Let's talk about the next component of this, because this is pretty cool. Now, the other thing to note with Megan Mook as well is that there's another upgrade, which allows you to get access to grenadiers, mounted grenadiers, as part of your Megan Mook as well. So we'll go ahead. We'll delete these for now. We'll let the AI live. What happens if we delete these? Do the Megan Mook just live forever? They have a good time. No, I think they actually lose health, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so let's talk about the emissaries. Now, the emissaries are probably going to be another controversial component of this civilization. I don't necessarily think it's controversial. Like, I will say I think it's probably going to be quite exciting from a casting perspective. They cost 100 gold or 150 if you don't have the Dragon Pavilion. So you can train them in... Actually, where can you train them? I think... No, you train them from the TC, that's right. So you just train them from the TC. They become available in the Castle Age. They got a couple of different abilities. So the first ability that they've got is this bad boy right here, Bribe. It's kind of like a Wallalol, except it's a little bit smaller, and you can cast it like... If you've ever played SC2, I was going to say CS2. If you've ever played StarCraft 2, it's kind of like Psionic Storm. So you can throw that bad boy down, just like that. Now, I can't move him after I've done that. He's casting his Storm. And what happens is when that Storm... Well, I shouldn't call it Psionic Storm. I should really call it the Bribe, because that's what it is. It will take up to 750 resources worth of enemy units, and it will just make them neutral. And they'll start fighting anybody that they like. They might start... I don't know if they start fighting each other, but that's essentially it. So you could see that's it. I don't know if there's really much of a sound other than all of those coins that are going off right now. If we have a look at the cooldown, you can see it's about 90 seconds for that to happen. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It's a bit of, you know, risk versus reward, but at the same time, the reward is always going to be very high, especially if you bring emissaries to a fight. So if you see these guys, if you see your enemy coming at you with emissaries, make sure you look to try and focus them down with archers. There's quite a bit of range on the actual bribe ability. So yeah, something to think about. Anyway, let's talk about the next component of this unit right here, and that is its ability to establish a tributary. Now, a tributary is another complicated system. We got a lot of complex systems in here. The biggest points are increasing every second we talk about this. How does it work? Well, let's take a look and see. So we're going to go and just use that ability here on a trade post. Has to be on a neutral trade post. And what that's going to do is that's going to turn these guys into our friends. And when that happens, you guessed it, they gain access to the Mega Mook emplacement. Oh, it just keeps getting better, doesn't it? It's so good. It's so fun. I love this game. Takes a while. Look, it's pretty expensive, the Mega Mook emplacement. I guess that's probably one thing I should mention. It's not like you're just getting these units for free. I mean, you technically are getting the units for free, but you got to pay to get them for free, right? It's, you know, you got to give some to take some. Anyway, we've got some farms out here. I wonder what's going to happen with these farms out here. And hold on, what's... Oh, no, that's the Mega Mook. What's this all about? We've got a subject that's coming in every 30 seconds until a maximum of 8 is reached. Who is this little guy? What is he doing? I wonder. He's going to go cut the farms for us. Then he's going to bring us some food back. Now, we can't control him the same way that we can't control the Mega Mook. But the good news is we get food from him, and he will allow us to control his food. He doesn't gather a lot of food compared to like a normal villager. I don't actually know whether or not he inherits the upgrades either. But compared to a normal villager, as far as I'm aware, I think it's half. They may have changed it. Another thing to note is that you will spawn up to 8 of these. Yeah, maximum of 8. Now, in the event that you can't actually spawn 8 because the trade post is blocked, you will only be able to spawn, like, let's say 6 or 7 or something like that. They'll actually make the gather rate on the rest of them a little bit higher just to make it so that it's still fair and competitive and they can balance around it, that sort of stuff. But that's essentially it. So it gives you access to a whole bunch of stuff. I think it also consumes the emissary as well. Yeah, we can go have a look. Yeah, there's a new emissary. So that previous emissary has now been consumed. Now, the emissaries also, with the tributary, provide a whole bunch of other bonuses. So we obviously get the food from local farmers. We get increased gold income from traders. We need to talk about that a little bit later. We get increased mounted villager build limit of +3 per tributary. So now we've gone from a 20 cap up to 23. That's very nice. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you get from having a tributary. Can be a little bit hard to grab. The other thing to note is that there's an animation that goes on before you can actually claim it, so your emissary could potentially be killed while it's actually doing that. Anyway, that's enough about the Castle Age. Let's talk about the good stuff. Let's get into it, the Imperial Age, the age that we all love to be, or that we all love to see. We got 2 options here. Which way are we going first? Do we go for the exciting one? I think we go for the exciting one. That's gotta be the Great Wall Bastion. Now, I'll be real with you. This kind of upset me, this landmark, because you see it in all of the footage that they've got, and you're like, wow, that Great Wall Bastion looks sick. Oh my gosh, and they've got stone walls connected to it. I wonder if we can finally connect stone walls to landmarks. That would be sick. and then your little guy just walks right through the gap, and you're like, ah, why, man? It was such a good opportunity. It was such a good chance to have done it. But anyway, they didn't do it. That was the only disappointing thing. Let's talk about what it actually is, though. The Great Wall Bastion. So it acts as a keep. 4 mounted bed crossbow weapons instead of regular emplacements are on the top, and it increases the damage of all bed crossbow projectiles by +3. What the heck is a bed crossbow? We haven't talked about that yet. Well, we can talk about it just a little bit now, just so you know what you're dealing with here. As you can see, we're being blocked out right now by these grassland posts. The way that we get rid of them, we just put a grassland down, and then we can cancel that grassland. The reason why that one won't be gotten rid of is because that one is probably... It was that one. They get connected in 3s. We've got some more back here. Anyway. So let's throw down the machine workshop just so you can see. Yep, that's right. Machine workshop. They don't have a siege workshop. Machine workshop here. And this is the bed crossbow. Excuse me. This is the bed crossbow. And so now his damage is increased by 3 because of the Great Wall Bastion. So that is extra, extra nice. There was an attack out here. I wouldn't know about it because the Megan Mook have dealt with it. And they have gone back and returned to their home. Thank you, Megan Mook. So, over towards the east here, we talk more about the Great Wall Bastion. Increases the damage of all bed crossbow projectiles by 3, which is absolutely lovely, if you're making bed crossbows, or if those units just happen to be very good, which I suspect they may be. It's basically the Springled. It's a little bit different. There's a couple of bonuses, like as an example, they've got some upgrades, which are they're not unique, they hit all siege, but like the fact that they're unique to this civilization mean that only you can do it with the bed crossbow. You can get them quite quick, almost as fast as a normal archer. The other thing is they don't need to reload, which is nice. It makes them very easy to micro. So that's your Great Wall Bastion. Of course, it gives you your Megan Mook emplacement. It also gives you access to flying fire battalions, which is where you have access to the Grenadier, which, shall we just go get out a Grenadier just quickly? That might be a problem. Somebody help us. So now we can have a look at what the Grenadier looks like. Actually, do we get the Grenadier from this? Maybe we don't get... Oh, maybe we only get the Grenadier from the keep, excuse me. So if we go flying fire battalions, there's nothing being called out. And now if we get the Megan Mook... Okay, oh my god, look at the size of that battalion. Holy dooly. Okay, they've changed that since I last saw it. Yeah, so this is all draining from our tickets. And keep in mind that you can just get tickets as long as you've got the Megan Mook emplacement. So you'll just grab that, and now you'll get tickets that are coming out from that. So anyway, that's the Grenadier. Now keep in mind that's actually not unique. That's not unique to this landmark. So if you're getting excited about Grenadiers, don't worry. You can still be excited, with the caveat that you don't have to go, not caveat, but with the advice that you don't have to make the Great Wall Bastion to get it. And then, of course, you've got Rain of Fire. Keeps and stone wall towers gain a grenade attack against nearby units. This is basically your boiling oil. It's slightly different, the mechanic. So you can see here it's got a range of 2.5, and it's got the burst attacks instead. All right, let's take a look at the last Imperial Age landmark, and then we'll get into the units, and then the technologies. Oh my lord, there's so much to cover. Alright, so let's say you're just having a chilled game, vibing out, playing with your economic landmarks, and just having a lovely time. You're about to hit your Karma bonus, and, well, you're about to hit your Blessing of the Four Heavenly Kings bonus. You're about to max out your Bingus points, okay, and you decide it's time to go Imperial. So what do? You grab all of your mounted villages, which, by the way, build so much faster than a normal villager. I think it's 2.2x as well. It's probably, I think it scales depending on what the building type is. But anyway, they build buildings faster. So you don't want to go Great Wall Bastion because you're focused on your economy. So instead you're going to build the Pagoda Forest, which spawns a small Pagoda Forest nearby every 30 seconds up to a cap of 15. Each small Pagoda Forest generates 20 wood every 30 seconds and slows nearby enemy movement speed by 20%. So now, just to recap, you've got farmers gathering 75% faster, relics generating 300% more gold, and now the cherry on top is a landmark that not only produces wood for you, but makes it so you will never die. Let's take a look at the coolest landmark added in this civilization, the Pagoda Forest. So, of course, you may have seen that small pagoda forests generate 20 wood every 30 seconds. That means 40 wood every minute. And you can have 15 of them. 40 times 15. That's a lot of wood. That's a lot of wood. 600 wood per minute coming in. Just chilling. Just having a good time. But, so now you can see, so we've got our grassland posts that have spawned. And there's our small pagoda forest, which is going to be generating our wood for us. Thank you, lads, very much for mounting that villager, rather for getting the pagoda forest in. And so we've talked about the first part of this landmark. Now it's time to talk about the second. It may garrison up to 3 monks to cast a large cascading conversion, which grows larger for every monk garrisoned. Now, I'm just going to say something to you. You've already seen what the Megan Mooks can do inside somebody's base. I mean, the cat's probably already out of the bag at this point. I'm sure you know what's going to happen. Yeah. Can you imagine, like, you're at the point where you're pushing into somebody's base, you go Imperial Age, and you drop this bad boy on the front lines with your trebuchets, with your outposts. Think Mongol push with sprinkled emplacement outposts sort of thing. You drop down the Pagoda Forest, you stick 3 monks inside, you park a whole bunch of trebs right next to it, and you say, come at me. I dare you. Look at that. I didn't even mention the new colors, by the way. We're playing as pink. Sorry, magenta. That's number 2. That's number 3. Anybody want a number 4? Boom, baby. There it is. We got the scout. Look at that. That's the world's first Pagoda Forest Wallalol successful right there. It's probably not. Someone else has probably done one. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Now, this is balanced by the fact it has got an absolutely gargantuan cooldown. 7 minutes. But can you just think of this landmark in the hands of Salami on Uluru? Or whenever someone is pushing towards a certain base, it just allows so much control, so much area dominance. And of course now we get our blessing of the 4 heavenly kings. Our Bingus points have been reached. We're going to start. We have to call them Bingus points. Anyway, those are the landmarks. Let's talk a little bit about the units, because that's where it actually... Well, I mean, it's already pretty fun, but that's where it gets even more fun. Let's do it. All right, we are going to absolutely blitz through this. We're going to go through it age by age so you can see what you've got access to when it comes to your units. We'll start it out nice and simple. You got access to a barracks. You got access to a spearman. The spearman has now been buffed. He is going to be taking over this matter. I'm calling it right now. The fact that the spearman has been changed, it's going to make cavalry so much less effective, and I am all for it. Okay, so where do we go from here? Well, we're just going to drop down a landmark. Why not? We'll drop down the Great Pasture. Probably makes sense since we're focused on military units, but if you didn't want to go for a Great Pasture, if you wanted to go for something else and maybe build a war stable, you could absolutely do that right now. Make sure that when you do build that war stable, you always build it nice and close to your grassland so that you can take advantage of those tickets. Let's take a look and see what is inside, because remember, these two are the same. Got exactly the same things, except you can delete this one. Can't delete this one. So, what do we got access to? Well, we got access to a lot of fun things here. Obviously, we've got the horseman, which is nice. You've seen this guy before. He's pretty chill. We've got the Iron Pagoda, which I'm going to call it now. We're probably going to make a video about this specific unit completely, because, look, there's a lot of hated units in Age of Empires, right? When you think of hated units, what do you think of? I think, for me, it's the Cuirassier. The Cuirassier from Age of Empires 3. Oh my god. Any guy who's played a game longer than 30 minutes knows the pain of the French Cuirassier. The reason why it was so painful is the fact that it had splash damage. Oh my god. They brought the Cuirassier back, and it's just... I'm all for it, but I'm also at the same time against it, because this Civ is already seeming really cool, and now they've just made it even cooler. Get ready to see a lot of this Civ in matchmaking. It's going to be like 60% play rate or something silly. It's going to be super fun. Anyway, Iron Pagoda, heavy armor. It's your knight replacement. That's essentially it. 1.62 movement speed. Same sort of stats that we're looking at here. The key difference is it does have a lower base attack, which means against a normal knight, it is going to struggle. However, it's when there is lots of them and lots of units, that's when you're really going to see the value in this unit. Now, it also has access to a charge. So you're going to be able to effectively charge things, not that we can charge right now, but that's essentially it. Now, the really cool thing that I love about the War Stable is the fact that if you wanted to make archers, you could. So you can just literally make archers out of it. Now, these units are fragile. I will say that. 62 health. That's really low. I think that's probably lower than a Yumi, if I remember correctly. It is... sorry, not a Yumi. Excuse me. I just went and checked the tech tree. No, I was right. Yumi Ashigari. Sorry, the reason why I second-guessed myself was because I have this thing, it's like an AoE 3 brain. Whenever I reference Age of Empires 3, my brain locks into that game, and then everything just, like, gets interpreted through that lens. Anyway, it doesn't have a lot of health. But the good news is it's very quick. 1.62 movement speed. And if we take a look at its animation, it's pretty damn decent as well. So, as you can see, it's got a little bit on it. Okay, so you can't wind it up, or you can't do it 100%, but it's still quick enough. No spearman is going to be touching you. And look, if a spearman does touch you, I've got good news. You've got access to quilted armor. We're not going to talk about this right now. We'll talk about it at the end. We're talking about units now, Drongo. Talk about units. Okay, but you do have quilted armor. Pause the video. Look at it. Pretty cool. Anyway, so Mohi tribesmen. So basically what I'm thinking is, at least early on, when it comes to aggression, if you want to be aggressive, you're going to start off with Great Pasture. It's very much going to be, I'm training Mohi. Like, I might train one Iron Pagoda. I should probably do it like this. Hold on. In a jiffy. I'm going to train one Iron Pagoda from this bad boy, and then I'm going to start training Mohi tribesmen. And then when I get my tickets through, I'm just going to get my Iron Pagoda. Because as you can see, it takes a really long time. But you want one of them out of the gates. That makes sense. Maybe even you open a horseman or something like that. And then you're going to have the Mohi tribesmen. They're only 17 seconds, so they're super duper fast. And then with your tickets, you're just going to buy your Iron Pagodas. Because they take really long to train, and then that way you only need to make one production building and you're still able to spend all of your resources for a really long time. This is also, can I just say, a really good landmark for people with bad macro, so it's going to really raise the floor for a lot of people, because if you've ever got extra resources, you can just click buttons and spend resources instantly, and that's always something that, as you get better, you learn to deal with, but it's something that you struggle with even as a Conqueror 3 player, I can say right now. It's not something that is easy spending your resources. So that's a great little band-aid mechanic. Anyway, let's take a look at the last building. Now, keep in mind, in the castle age, we've got access to the men-at-arms. We don't have access to it just yet. Still only the spearmen in the barracks. Let's take a look now at the final building here, and that is the machine workshop. Now, we're in the feudal age here, and we still have access to this building. We'll turn off in a jiffy, or rather turn it on. And we've got a single unit that we can make. It is the bed crossbow. So it's got a range of 7.5 tiles, which is quite far. As you can see, we can hit that bad boy right there. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Didn't even kill the sheep on the first round. Got him the second time. And just like the Springald, it can fire through units. So if we were to attack that sheep, at least it should fire through units. Fires a bolt, a burst of bolt that pierce multiple units. Okay, so does that mean that we just want to be attacking units at the back and then shooting units at the front? Is that the idea? That's probably the idea. Let's see if we can hit it. I mean, we're doing damage to him. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I think the bolt got absorbed by this guy. Okay, we sorted him out. So that's the bed crossbow. Essentially the Springald. It obviously looks a lot cooler. It's got some extra little upgrades that you can get access to as well. So I've already mentioned the fact that they get access to a second speed upgrade. Your first ones here in the feudal age, they start off at 0.91 speed. And that goes up to 1.0 speed. And then, of course, that can go up even higher. So we're all about that. We're all about that. They also get veterancy upgrades. So there's a lot of ways that you can increase the potency of the bed crossbow. When it comes to combos, I think probably just bed crossbow and spearman is going to be, like, it's very similar if you played AOM to the Cairo Ballista. Exact same sort of unit in my mind. Okay, let's take a look at Castle Age. Let's go up. Let's get there. We've talked about the Megan Mook already, so we're going to avoid the Dragon Pavilion for now. We'll go into the Mountain Hall instead. And let's take a look at what we've now got access to. So we now have access to some new upgrades. We'll talk about those a little bit later, but of course we've got access to the new and improved Men-at-Arms. He's a little bit cheaper. And we've got a cool upgrade for him as well. Unlocks in Imperial Age. And when it comes to our cavalry, nothing here has changed at all. So yeah, nothing too exciting. But we do now unlock the Nest of Bees. One of the few things that we have in common with the Chinese is that we share the Nest of Bees, though to be honest, so many civs have access to the Nest of Bees. I don't know how you could even call them Chinese at this point. Like, it's just like a mangonel replacement that half the roster gets now. So we've got the Nest of Bees. We've got crossbows. Obviously bed crossbows, which can be upgraded. Traction trebuchets. We don't get OG trebuchets. Battering rams we had access to, and we get some cool upgrades as well, like Porcupine Defense, which we will talk about later on in the video. So that's essentially it, rounding it out in the Castle Age. Now, I will say when it comes to unit combinations, you know, like, so when it comes to Feudal Age, definitely I'm thinking Iron Pagoda together with Mohi Tribesmen, or Spearmen together with Bed Crossbow could be very, very cool. When it comes to Castle Age, I'm going to say it right now, I think the best combo is just simply going to be Spearmen together with crossbows. I think it's going to be insanely good now. Not that it like wasn't already good, it was already really good, but the fact now that we've got like 2 TCs, probably going to be the play, judging by the way that they've changed it in the recent patch, which by the way I haven't talked about yet, but I didn't do the patch update video. We'll save it for another video. We're not talking about the patch update, but talking about why we didn't do that. Anyway, crossbowmen together with the spears coming out are going to be very good, because you've now got access to the Nest of Bees. And the reason why the Nest of Bees are super cool in the Castle Age for this civilization is not because of the Nest of Bees at all. It's because of the Machine Workshop, and that's because of its ability to repair nearby siege engines. Yeah, baby. Yeah. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with this civ. You can have Nest of Bees that are repairing themselves, that have got Porcupine defenses, so if anyone attacks them, they're going to whack them back. We don't actually see that they've got Porcupine defenses. When it comes to the crossbowmen, we don't have any upgrades other than Elite, but the Spearman upgrade, that's what it's all about, okay? We get Storm Lancers, which we'll talk about later, but oh boy, oh man, there's so many cool things to talk about. I think this combo is going to be a killer combo. Let's take a look at Imperial Age, the final stage of the game. We unlock a brand new unit. It is this bad boy right here. You may have seen him in some of the screenshots. The two-handed swordsman. Yeah, he's scary. The Zanma swordsman. 250 health. That's a lot of health. Big armor, big attack, and a bonus against cavalry. So this guy is one that the only way you're going to be dealing with this is with crossbows and with hand cannons. So I'm thinking, like, when it comes to his cost as well, he's pretty well balanced. It's expensive, but it's not super expensive. And the fact that he's got all that extra armor, it really means crossbows are the only way to deal with this guy. So as long as you've got a way to deal with crossbows and you're spamming these guys, you're going to be having a good game. On top of that, you get some extra upgrades, which we'll talk about later. Of course, we finally gain access to our new unique unit. I'll be real with you. I don't know if I'm a fan of this unit. But anyway, we'll talk about it now. It is called the Eruptor. The Eruptor is a hand cannoneer with slightly more damage. That's it. That's it. Slightly more expensive. Slightly more damage. That's it. Now, it does get some other bonuses, which we'll talk about. But that is essentially it. That rounds out the roster at this stage. What else is there to talk about when it comes to military? I think we probably hit everything. I'm just going to do a double check. Oh, before we move on, let me show you in the tech tree, because that's the player list, excuse me. In the tech tree at the dock, check out this bad boy right here. Other civs don't get this. Naval crossbows. War junks are equipped with repeating bed crossbows, firing a burst of 2 piercing bolts. So they also get springled crews, but that's for springled ships. And then here, this is for war junks. So there's our war junks, but that is a springled ship. So it's just like, this is going to be incredible. And like, you compare this to the Chinese as an example. They've got the springled ship, or the springled crew upgrade, but they don't have this one. Like, this is just going to be bonkers. Because like that is definitely a big point. I think if you can make it to Castle Age on water and then get that upgrade, good luck. With the way that those bed crossbows are going as well, that is going to be ridiculous on water. I think they're going to be incredibly dominant if they can hit Castle with water. What else is there to talk about here? I want to make sure that I don't miss anything before we move on to the next stage. Give me a sec. I'm just going to pause. Okay, I think that's it. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the unique technologies. We're going to rewind this, and we're going to take you back to the very beginning. Now, one of the cool things about this civilization is they start off with access to deer. Well, reindeer. It's not actual deer. It's reindeer. It's different. They gather as fast as the deer. And what's cool about that is that you can make a decision. You can say, okay, am I going to gather up those reindeer right now, or am I going to wait a little bit longer? Now, you might be wondering, why the heck would you want to wait? Well, let me tell you why. And that's because there's a couple of unique upgrades that are very important for this civilization early on. The first one is inside the mill. It allows you the ability to have survival techniques right here, right now. It's unique. And of course, you'll notice that it is unique, meaning it's not like the others. Perhaps a little bit stronger. Let's take a look. The Chinese tech tree has survival techniques, 15%. But if we take a look at the Jin Dynasty, they've got something a little bit more special. They've got an extra 20%, or they've got 20%, and then they've got an extra 20% as well. Yeah, so every other civ is out there rocking 15%, and they're sitting at 40%. And keep in mind, that's 40% on top of the base gather rate of 2.2x a villager already. And do I need to mention the flower pagoda? Yeah. Let's talk about how you can combo some of the things in the early game as a potential way for you to build up your strategy. At least what I'm thinking. So, you can probably research Mohi and Ancestry quite early. I think it actually makes quite a lot of sense. In fact, one of the things that I found myself doing is I would go out and look for my deer pack as early as I could. And what I would do is send out my mounted villager, because keep in mind these villagers are faster, and I would build a mill out here, and then I would start researching. Now, some people would say, oh, that's a bit silly. Why would you do that? You got the deer pack in base. Well, let me explain. There's also another technology, and that's collective hunting. This takes me back to Age of Empires 3, the Lakota. They had a very similar ability that would allow you to spawn food under your town center. Back then it was bison. Here, it's reindeer. Now, I'm not going to spawn these ones under the TC. Let me show you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to age up with the Flower Pagoda. So let's go ahead. We'll drop that bad boy down. We'll use some cheats to speed it up. And we're going to go ahead and do what most decent players who like to fast castle do, and that's build a second TC. And we're going to build that second TC so that we can protect our gold. Now, where would we put it if we were going to protect our gold? Probably like somewhere like here-ish. You know, it's already at the back of our base already, but we just want to make sure that we've got decent coverage. Let's go right here. Why not? This looks decent. If they attack from this side, we can always put down an outpost or something like that. So now you can see we've got this second TC down. We've already got this hunting tradition upgrade because we dropped a mill out here and we picked that up early. And now, instead of using the main TC to gather up or to use our collective hunting, let me just put in Jiffy back on. So let's train up some villagers here. What we can do is with collective hunting, we can actually spawn it at this town center here. Now, initially that might seem like a bit of a weird decision. You know, this main TC's got a lot more health, it's a lot safer. That's true, but this one's got a gold vein, and now I can stack my 25% gather rate on my gold vein and my deer. Yeah. So there's all these nice little bonuses that really start to add up. You got faster gathering villagers with faster gathering villagers with faster gathering villagers. There's just all these nice little bonuses that start to stack up, and it just starts to feel like such a cool civilization. And that's not even the end of it when it comes to the eco upgrades. If we take a look at the mounted villager over here, let's go ahead and put on our cheats again. We'll get these guys to stop working just for now. We've got another cool upgrade available to you in the castle age, which increases the wood gather rate by 15% and then increases their wood carry capacity by 10%. Essentially giving them like a double wheelbarrow. Now, keep in mind their wood or their carry capacity is already higher. So if we just go ahead and age up right now, you can see that will go up to 30. It should go up to 30. Excuse me. So we're sitting at 25 right now. So he'll do it. Come on, my friend, get it together. Oh, he's really taking his time. We gotta help him out. It's funny. In a jiffy doesn't actually speed up the chopping of trees. Yeah, so plus 30, which basically means this guy becomes the most insane wood gatherer, with the exception of the Knights Templar. That's probably it. Though, to be fair, it's probably about on par realistically. But he's very flexible, so I don't even know if you'd really want to use him for wood throughout the game. You probably want to use him on like the gold veins in the middle of the map and just try and steal them off the enemy or something. Anyway, let's talk more about the upgrades. We've talked about these eco upgrades early on in the game. What other upgrades have we got access to? Now, at the blacksmith, there's nothing exciting. Don't even think about clicking on the blacksmith. We do have these cool new icons for the blacksmith, which I'm all about, but nothing unique in here. It's all standard stuff that you would have seen before. When it comes to the mining camp, we've got nothing in there either, so don't go too crazy. Now, when it comes to our barracks, we've already talked about it. This is a very cool upgrade. I don't know whether or not we'll be able to show it off here unless we go over to the enemy's base, so we'll go do that. So let's talk about what it is. Spearmen are equipped with Storm Lancers, gaining an explosive ranged attack on a cooldown. So this is part of the reason why I think going crossbow spear, Nest of Bee is probably going to be like the play with this civilization. It's purely because of storm lancers. You want to be making spears, and because you're making spears, you want to be pairing them with a unit that works well, which is the crossbow, and then of course you don't want to be dying to something like archers, so you make nest of bees to deal with them. And that's essentially the argument. Let's make sure that we keep these. Excuse me. I've been sick, so I'm still recovering. That's part of the reason why I didn't record earlier. But we're doing better now. We're doing better now. Where is this guy? Is he left or is he right? What do you guys think? Find out in the next episode of Dragon Ball. He's left. All right. What were we doing? I lost myself. Oh, yeah, that's right. The spearmen. Let's add a couple houses in. Let's test this bad boy out. We've got a scout coming in. And we'll grab that upgrade. Here it goes. 3, 2, 1. And boom. Did we miss? I think we missed. So it can be a little bit weird, a little bit finicky with how it is. So they can only use it at a specific range. So the Stormlance here, 6.5 tiles of range. But as you saw, some of them charged and some of them used their lance. It goes on cooldown, so it's similar to the Donzo. The one key difference is that this is AoE. At least it used to be. They may have changed it. I may have got my hands on this a little bit earlier, but I wouldn't be allowed to tell you if I did. Let's take a look and see whether or not we can actually do this. I mean, he doesn't have a military, so it's not as good. Let's try and take out some of these villages over here. It's a swing and a miss. All right, it's not as good as it used to be. That is for sure. It's not looking that hot right now. I'll be real with you guys. All right, you have to take my word. It may have been cooler before. It's still pretty cool, though. Anyway, let's take a look at what other unique upgrades we've got access to here. We'll throw down a couple more. Of course, with the bed crossbow, we've got the ability, this is for nest of bees, actually. We've got the ability to get the lightweight frames to make everything move a little bit faster. Of course, we can get the reinforced axles as well to make them move even faster. So you can have nest of bees almost at 1.0 movement speed. You've got porcupine defenses, which deal 10 damage back to melee attackers. Very cool, especially if you combo this together with the healing of the machine workshop. It heals at 2 health per second for all your siege. And so now what that means is your nest of bees can be healing and killing the units that are close to it all the time. The Mohi Tribesman, available in the Feudal Age, also has access to quilted armor in the Feudal Age. It means that any damage that they take from bonus damage, so think of that as spearmen attacking them, it's going to reduce that damage that's taken. So it's not increasing their health pool, so against a unit like the Knight, it's not really going to do much. Oh, maybe we can use them here. Yeah, it's not going to do much against a unit like the Knight because the unit doesn't have, or the Knight doesn't have bonus damage. But against a unit like the Spearman, which gets bonus damage against cavalry, it would reduce that significantly. All right, there you go. Now you can see it. We're firing off. We're doing some damage right there. So yeah, I think like the whole idea is you want to kind of like mass up some spears. The more units the enemy's got, the better it is. I'll say that right now. I'm looking forward to testing out spear charges as well. But yeah, that's essentially the idea. Let's take a look at the last things. Oh, you know what we haven't talked about? We should talk about it right now. This bad boy right here. Do I restart the game? No, I'm not going to restart the game. Okay, we're just gonna send him out over here. It's the reindeer. Now, this is a normal trader, right? Looks normal. It's a little bit faster than the normal trader. Like a normal trader, you're looking at a... Oh, we can't make it, can we? Because we went for the flower landmark. Normal trader is 1 movement speed. This is 1.1 movement speed. This guy rides a reindeer. Normal trader rides I want to say a donkey, which is obviously like compared to a reindeer, like D tier. But the real advantage of this bad boy right here is the fact that despite getting stuck on reindeer, his cost. Look at what he costs. Yeah, look at what he costs. Isn't that so nice? Isn't that just so damn awesome? He costs food. Oh, that makes all the difference. And, you know, there might be people that think, like, why does that even matter? My God, why does that matter? Food is just like... Generally, when you're doing trade, there's a couple things that happen. And one of the things that happens is you build up a food economy pretty... Like, in the mid-game, you get a lot of food going, right? And then when it gets to the time where you have to start making traders, you got to make a decision. Because there's 1 gold vein left on the map. It's got 370 gold in it. You've got 2 relics that are slowly ticking, and you need to be like, okay, should I make units or should I try and make traders so I can make more units later? Here, you don't have to make that decision. Here, you just make the traders. The transition to getting into that late game economy, that ultra late game economy is just so easy here. Not to mention the fact that early on, I think this is probably just the perfect ratio. I haven't even talked about that. I'm putting my finger up in the air. These villages, I mean, these are German settler wagons from Age of Empires 3. That's part of the reason why as well. But a farm costs 75 wood, right? But guess what? This guy's worth 2.2 villages. So now all of a sudden, I've got a villager that's gathering as fast as 2.2 villages, but it only cost me 75 wood to build this farm. This farm is effectively cheaper than the English farm. And I know that there's people going to be in the chat like, well, technically the English farm is under an English mill, and the English mill gets a bonus of 25%. Therefore, it's gathering fast. I'm talking about the farm, bro. I'm not talking about the mill. Technically, with the farms, we're faster, all right? But with the mill, yes, I'll give you that. Anyway, the point is, they got real cheap farms, effectively. And it means that if you've got 20 farms, you could have 20 mounted villages on those farms, gathering the equivalent of 44 villages, which is just ridiculous. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. A little bit coughing right there. So, yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it just allows this transition so much more easily. Let me take a look at my notes and see what else there is to talk about. Actually, I don't need to. I can remember off the top of my head. The last upgrades that I want to talk about right here in the university. Oh, my God, in the university. The most crazy upgrade of all. Padded Lamella. Oh, my gosh. All cav and melee infantry increase health by 25%. So they're combining biology together with elite army tactics here. It's the same cost as both. You don't get the extra damage from elite army tactics, but at the same time you get 10% more health on your infantry, and you get it for the same price. Just a crazy technology. Then we got Heaven Shaking Thunder. The thunderous sounds of Eruptor and Stormlance weapons. Stormlance, remember? We talked about them earlier. Stormlance. So the thunderous sounds of those two weapons scare enemy cavalry, reducing the damage of nearby cav by 20% for 5 seconds. Very cool. And then, of course, we've got Alliance Conducted at Sea. Extra 10% income to traders for each tributary subject. So if you've connected this guy up, it already gives you a bonus. And now that bonus is going to be an extra 10%. So here it gives a bonus of 15%. That now becomes a bonus of 25%. Which is pretty damn nice, especially because I'd have to double check, but I'm 99% sure it stacks. Yeah, it says each additional one. Anyway, let me take a look at my notes here and see what else there is to cover. I don't want this video to go longer than an hour. Okay, the last thing we're talking about is potential strategies. I'm going to be real quick here with you. Keep in mind, I used to be a Conqueror 3 player. I haven't played ranked for a while. That's about to change with this civilization. Let me show you the strategies I'm thinking about using. The first strategy we're using is called Pretend to be French. This is a strategy where you do your standard start, okay? You're going to go into a great pasture. This is the way I'm envisioning it, okay? Now, keep in mind, we're using cheats here just so we can do it a little bit faster. And we're going to be starting off by making an Iron Pagoda. We're going to make a couple of Mohi tribesmen. We'll drop down our grassland. Oh my god, we've got terrible grassland spawn. Oh my god, that's the worst grassland spawns. None of them can connect to there, which means you can't use... Oh, that's a bad roll right there. Anyway, we would do that. And then, so we would send out these bad boys. They would go and do some attacking. And the whole idea is that we're trying to keep the opponent off gold. And then what are we doing? Well, we're going Castle Age. Of course, we're going Castle Age, so we're going for the Mountain Hall. We're going to grab the Mountain Hall. We're going to use that to try and pick up relics. We're doing a little bit of French, a little bit of Holy Roman Empire here, so we're keeping the opponent in their base. And the idea is that we're just picking up all of the relics. And then behind this, we can make a decision. Do we want to go for, after we picked up all the relics, do we want to go more heavily into military? Do we want to think about dropping down a second TC? Do we want to potentially pick up some trade posts with some emissaries? Could be an option for us. So there's lots of different things that you can do here, but I think that's probably going to be a pretty common play that people are making, is the fast castle with just a couple of units out. Very similar to like what the Holy Roman Empire do with horsemen. That kind of vibe. Just because this bad boy right here is very cool. And the fact that you can put out pressure for free with the Great Pasture, I mean, I say for free, it's not really. I mean, you don't have to build anything. It's like the School of Cavalry. But then you can go straight up into the Mountain Hall. That's a great combo. Let me tell you about my second strat, which is going to be my go-to. I've actually revealed it a couple times in the video before. We've only got 50 seconds, so I gotta be quick here. 2 TC opening, I think, is very, very solid here. Calling over the huntable reindeer on the second TC, following it up with the flower pagoda on top of it, and then using the dragon pavilion somewhere in the middle to defend. Everybody gets Megan Mooks. Good luck attacking into this. You're probably going to be giving up relics, maybe even 3 TCs, because why the hell not? This is it. This is it. This is the new English. This is the new Eco-Civ. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I close out this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to bringing you a lot more content for this civilization. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.